Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Hope you all are doing well out there. If any of you have ever traveled to London and ridden the subway there, you've often heard the term mind the gap. Well, today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to mind the gut. I want to talk a little bit about gut health. It's been said that all disease begins in the gut, and that was attributed to Hippocrates about 2,500 years ago. That's pretty insightful because there is certainly a huge connection with gut health and our overall physical health. Dr. Terry Walls is an internist in Iowa who talks a lot about gut health as she has mended herself from severe multiple sclerosis. And she talks about the gut as our garden and how we must tend our garden. In order to have a healthy garden, you have to tend to it. So I wanted to kind of walk through what we call our 4R program, which is a way to help guide us in terms of helping us tend our garden. So what is that 4R program? Well, the first R is remove. What do we want to remove in order to tend our garden? Well, certainly if you have a garden, you want to make sure there's no squirrels or insects that are a problem. Well, for us, the squirrels and insects tend to be things like food sensitivities, things like parasites, and things like infections and toxins. So let's talk a little bit about that. First thing we want to visit with is talking a little bit about foods. Well, I've done that many times, even on our Wednesday talks. We know that there are certain foods that are problematic, and the most common food sensitivities that we see when testing are going to be wheat, dairy, eggs, corn, soy, and peanuts, with the most, probably 75% of that being wheat and dairy. So removing those things can be quite helpful for the gut. Toxins, we know glyphosate, which is Roundup, herbicides, pesticides can be problematic. So you want to try to do the best job you can to buy organic when you can and when you can afford them. That's definitely going to eliminate many toxins. And then lastly, if you travel and are exposed to things like parasites, or if you've had certain types of infections like H. pylori that can contribute to ulcers, if you have yeast overgrowth, these can also contribute to imbalances within the gut. And we can treat many of these with antiparasitic drugs or antibiotics, but also there are things called botanicals that can help with eliminating pathogens. We know garlic can be helpful. Things like oregano oil, olive leaf extract, can also be helpful, in addition to antibiotics and antifungal type medications. So we want to remove those things that can be problematic, but we also want to replace things that might needed to be added back. For instance, when we age, we know that we tend to make less stomach acid, so we might need to add a little bit of that, despite the fact that it seems a little counterintuitive because so many of us experience problems with reflux or heartburn. And the reason we do is that it's not because we have too much acid, it's really because we have too little. So helping with digestion with perhaps adding some betaine hydrochloric acid, adding enzymes which will help break down those hard to break down proteins can be very helpful. So also we want to replace fiber. We tend to not get much fiber in our diet like we used to. And if you're eating enough vegetables, you want to do the best job you can to get fiber in the form of vegetables. We know things like Jerusalem artichoke can be really helpful with soluble fiber, but you can also certainly get psyllium fiber. You can add some of the dissolving fibers to even coffee in the morning, and that can be really helpful. It's important to make sure that you get enough hydration. So water is really important for making sure that you replace what we lose every day. We lose a lot of just through our skin and obviously through the making of urine and through our bowels. So it's really important to stay hydrated. each day. So now we've talked a little bit about removing and replacing, and now we want to re-inoculate. And many people, it's so funny to me that people get confused about probiotics versus digestive enzymes. They're totally different. Probiotics are actually replacing bacteria, and the enzymes are helping break those foods down, so different functions. But we want to re-inoculate with probiotics. It's thought that perhaps we want to rotate those maybe every 3 months. And certainly if you get a round of antibiotics for any reason, you want to re-inoculate with pretty high dose probiotics. We know that there can be probiotics you can get at the store. There are soil-based probiotics, and certainly there are fermented foods that have plenty of bacteria to reintroduce and to re-inoculate into the gut, and that can be quite helpful. So now we've removed, we replaced, and we re-inoculated. Now we want to repair. The best ways we have seen to repair is perhaps using a powder form of glutamine. There are a couple of products that we have here through Zymogen and through Orthomolecular that have high-dose glutamine powder. So you want about 5 to 6 grams of glutamine on a daily basis, and probably for just a month or two can be very helpful for helping heal the gut. If you've had issues with leaky gut or with digestive, with bloating and problems with either infection, etc., having been on antibiotics, that can be very helpful. Aloe vera can be very helpful, as well as omega-3. And we have most of you all taking those things. But glutamine, and that usually comes in a powder, is probably the most powerful repair molecule that we know of in terms of helping that small bowel, which is only 1 cell layer thick. So now we've kind of walked through that 4R program just briefly, and this is ways that we can tend to our gut garden and ways that we can help mind the gut. So I hope that has been helpful to you. If you need any help with any of this, please call us. We have products available, or we can just advise you of what you can order to either get off of Amazon or wherever you like to get any of your supplements. Happy to help you with that. Before we leave here today, I wanted just to mention a couple of things going on the next week or two. Starting on Monday, Dave Asprey started his 14-day sleep challenge. For those of you who are really struggling with sleep, I would encourage you to go there, and I'm going to include a link below that you can start that 14-day program. Even though it started on Monday, you'll be able to catch up. I think it's $29 for the minimum program, and I think it can be really helpful. After having read Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, I'm really convinced that it is truly so powerful to have good sleep. We know that basically it's air, water, sleep as far as human functions are concerned, even before food. So I would encourage you, if you're really struggling, to perhaps participate in that. And then if you're interested in doing a fasting program, there is a faith-based program that has started. It started on Monday as well, but I'm sure you can hook into that. It's called Feast to Fast, and I will include a link to that being led by a nutritionist if you just need some help with that. So hopefully either one of those might be of benefit to any of you. I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next week, and go out and create the best health you can. Until next week.